Okay, let's talk about turning one of your biggest headaches, managing perishable goods, into a real strength. We're going to build a digital consultant that works just for you. As a business consultant, this is a frustration I hear every single day from managers just like you. And the truth is, there is a better way. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter with the data you already have. So, before we jump into the fix, let's get real about the problem. We need to acknowledge the daily battle you're fighting. It's this relentless race against the clock. And frankly, it's a battle you deserve to win. I bet this looks familiar, right? This isn't just some list on a slide. This is your daily reality. It's a constant drain on your time, your profit, and your energy. But what if you had an expert assistant, someone dedicated to solving just this 24/7? And this is where we bring in your new digital consultant. But hold on, I want to be super clear here. We're not talking about some generic off-the-shelf chatbot. We're building a specialist, an AI that's trained only on your data and tailored to your specific needs. What we're going to use is a tool called a Gemini Gem. The best way to think about it is like a brand new digital employee. You train it personally. You tell it how to think and act based on what your business actually needs. And the best part? It never forgets, and it's always on task. And this side, this really nails the difference. A generic AI, it pulls from the whole internet, right? It knows a tiny bit about everything. Your custom gem, on the other hand, knows everything about the one thing that actually matters, your business. It's grounded in your reality, not the entire web. And you know what? The process is actually pretty straightforward. Seriously, just think of it like you're onboarding a new manager. First, we give our consultant a library of your business's data to study up on. Then, we give it a super clear job description to follow. That's it. Knowledge plus behavior. Okay, so first things first, where do we even start? Well, we start by building its library. This is the foundation of everything, and we'll use a tool called Notebook LM to create a private, curated knowledge base just for our consultant. This is where you're going to feed the system the absolute ground truth of your store. And listen, this is really important. Quality is so much more important than quantity here. Be selective. You want it to learn from your best, most accurate info, not just a bunch of random files. So by uploading these key documents, your sales reports, inventory logs, even your staff policies, you make sure your new digital consultant isn't just making things up. It's analyzing your actual real-world business data to give you advice you can trust. All right, so now our consultant is smart. It has all the knowledge, but now we have to give it a purpose. We need to define its role and the rules it has to follow. Basically, we're creating its job description. And this table here breaks it down beautifully into 4 pillars. First, you give it a role, like Expert Perishables Manager. Then, you give it a specific task, like Analyze data to reduce waste. Then you provide the context it always needs to remember, something like, we prioritize customer freshness above all else. And finally, the format, telling it exactly how to talk to you, like always give me a summary, then a bulleted action list. Okay, I'm going to say this again because it's probably the single most important part of this whole process. You have to be ruthlessly specific with these instructions. The more specific you are here, the less the gem wanders off topic, and the more it sounds like a seasoned, valuable member of your team. Don't be vague. Okay, the setup is done. The groundwork is laid. Now for the really fun part. Let's see how this consultant actually performs when we throw some real-world questions at it, the kind you deal with every single day. Just imagine this. You walk in, it's the start of your shift. Instead of heading to the cold room with a clipboard for an hour trying to figure this all out yourself, you just ask a simple question. And bam, you get an instant prioritized, data-driven action list. It's not guessing. It just analyzed your inventory logs and your invoices to tell you exactly where to focus your team's efforts to prevent the biggest losses first. But okay, that's great for spotting problems. Now let's get proactive. We don't want to just react to waste, we want to get ahead of it, right? So let's ask it for a strategic recommendation. And there you have it. Look at that answer. It doesn't just give you a generic idea. It references your own historical data from the reports you uploaded to make a recommendation that has a really high chance of working in your store for your customers. That's hyper-specific advice. And get this, you can even use it for things like internal communications. This makes sure everybody on your team is on the same page, following the exact procedures you've already laid out in your policy documents. It boosts consistency and cuts down on errors. And that's really the core of it, isn't it? That's the huge transformation here. This isn't just about finding information a little faster. It's about turning that whole mountain of raw data into smart, immediate action that actually impacts your bottom line. So let me leave you with this question. What if your biggest, most frustrating operational problem, what if that became your strongest competitive advantage? By mastering your perishables, you're not just cutting waste, you're building a reputation for freshness and efficiency that your competitors just can't match. Think about that, and think about what you could build for your business starting today.